K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Ace, and of course, tonight I am joined by my co-host, none other than Mess Around Dave, and you are watching another episode of the Coast to Coast Red Tape Files. So, Mr. Mess Around Dave, how are you doing tonight?
I am good. Did a whole lot of nothing today. That's usually my forte. So anytime I can do that, it's a good day.
Absolutely right. How can you not be excited? And then, of course, welcome in William Hudson. William Hudson's
Hey,
here.
Will.
What's up, my dude? Yep, he's saying what's up, dudes. All right. So we hope you're having a fantastic night, too. You know, what's really interesting, the case we have for you this week is quite interesting, to say the least. When I looked through all the information that we had on this guy, I'm like, man, this is something, because what's the odds? Like, I'm saying, what's the odds of the dude getting abducted twice?
Yeah.
Like that was crazy. And then when you think about it, his wife actually started fighting for the will and everything else, which kind of threw up a whole red flag to me right there.
Yeah, this case was weird. Like you said, this guy, he was kids talking about tonight, Teddy Wong.
Teddy Wong.
Yeah, he was a millionaire, and he owned a pharmaceutical plant. And he got, like I said, not once but twice he got kidnapped. And once in '83, and his wife, they wanted the ransom for him of $34 million. Right. And which she paid.
She paid that.
She paid that, yeah. And they had dude handcuffed or chained to a bed for 8 days, and they finally let him go after they got the money. And then in 1990, I believe, he was abducted again. And they called the wife and wanted $60 million, but she only paid like half of it.
Well, so they wanted $60 million. And then when they wanted $60 million, she paid the first installment of like $44 million.
Right.
And then, so then after she paid that first installment of $44 million, it's like, oh, she'll probably get him back. No, she never got him back. Like, he completely up and disappeared. Now, the people who abducted him supposedly, or kidnapped him, came out and they told authorities and said, you know, this is where you would find him, because he's like at the bottom of the lake or whatever.
They said they dumped him in the sea.
Yeah, the sea. And they went and looked, and they didn't find him. They found no body whatsoever.
The weird part to me is like, even years later, up to the year 2000, her nanny or assistant or whatever said that the wife is still getting phone calls from Teddy Wong in 2000.
Right? I don't, that part I don't understand.
I don't get it either. That's just weird to me. Like, he's still calling and he's supposed to be deceased after all this time.
Well, yeah, because after a certain amount of time, the authorities actually have to come out and classify you as deceased when they don't, you know, find a body or whatever, which they never did. You know, they never did. Yeah, they never actually found the body that they were looking for, that they were told they would find. But if we back this up though and start from pretty much the very beginning, when you think about where all this started, and so, or why it started. So number one, you know, he got married, and then once he got married, like, we understand this guy had massive amounts of money. Like, this guy was a millionaire without question. If his wife could give out $34 million, not bat an eye, you know that the dude had money.
Well, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His parents were loaded too.
Yeah, and then he got a pharmaceutical place, and it kept growing and growing. So I believe at one point they said he was close to being a billionaire.
Yeah.
And so it was that close. But then it started throwing up that red flag because, once they got married, then she was like, let's get this will going. So, and that was like the first thing that she wanted. She wanted him to immediately make this will and say, hey, I need this will. We need to put this in place. So they did that. Time goes on, and then he gets abducted for the first time. Wasn't he
carjacked originally, and then they abducted him originally in his Mercedes?
Yeah. So
yeah,
they abducted him in his car, his Mercedes, which they found. They found completely abandoned. They didn't see the Mercedes. It was until like three or four days later they found it. They couldn't find him, and then they finally, after his wife paid the $34 million, was when people started stepping forward and saying something and saying, this is why it happened. So my thing is the interesting part is it never really said what happened to the people who got him the first time.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't even mention if it's the same people that did it twice or it's a different set of people.
So my thing is when I look at this whole situation, especially starting out at the very beginning, right? So you have the wife at the very beginning who is adamant about the will. She knows about the carjacking, which they all said that she kind of knew about it. He's abducted, chained to a bed for 8 days, survives, let go. Time goes on again after paying this. So to me, this is kind of where it starts getting fishy. Okay. Right after the first time of them getting abducted, time goes on, everything seems fine. The whole entire will gets completely worked out. Everything in the will gets worked out. It looked like everything was kind of finalized except one little detail. And do you remember what that little detail was that they had left out of the will?
No, I didn't. I didn't see that part in the story I heard. What was it?
The one little detail that they left out was that she would not get the will if he disappeared, like he did the first time. And so he disappeared the second time, and that's when she started fighting for it. That's when she was like, well, we need to figure out this will because I need this. But in reality, did she really need it? Because this guy was already a million. She had all the money.
Right.
She had some way to get to this money because she was able to access the $34 million the first time and then 44 million the second time. So to me, when you look at this whole situation right now, I kind of look at the wife and I think that the wife had something to do with it.
Could be. It's weird though, because they were like childhood friends, and then they didn't talk for a while, and then they rekindled their friendship and eventually got married.
Yeah. No, I definitely get what you're saying there. But the reason why I'm saying that something makes me think that this has something to do with the wife is simply because of the fact it deals with money. And I'm talking about on the will side. It was all about the will. She wanted the will. But what makes it really, really interesting, though, is that I don't know why it would be about money if she already had all this money. If he got abducted the first time and she was willing to give $34 million away the first time.
Yeah, that just doesn't make sense. Yeah. Like, you're married to this guy. He's got money. It's both of your money. You're going to get it too. Like, why would you want it all? You're set for life. Just stay with the guy. I mean, if not divorce him and take half, why kill the guy or have him abducted?
Okay, but do you really honestly think this was the wife? Like in your personal thoughts. Do you think it was the wife who actually had this planned, had this set up to where he got abducted not only once but twice?
I don't know. I don't think the wife had anything to do with that. I think I just feel like it was a random. I don't know, because it happens once and then it happens again. How can it be random? I'm kind of torn on that part.
Yeah. So William Hudson saying wives can be sketchy, husbands too. They can be. But I get what you're saying there, Will, about this whole thing. I just find it very, very strange that if she already had everything, if she already had all this money, it just doesn't make sense to me why she would plan to have him abducted. And then, so let's say that it's set up, in this will to where she's supposed to take all this money over. Now, my thinking is, why would she set it up to have him abducted and then the person asked for such a ridiculous amount of ransom money to where she was willing to get rid of $34 million and then the second time get rid of $44 million?
Me too, Will. Me too.
Yeah. you very well. I'm just trying to figure this out. Like, that's the thing. I'm trying to figure this out exactly and say where all this money would come into play and exactly why. It's just not adding it to me. It's not making sense. It's not making sense why the wife would do this. Like, why would she want to give away all this money if she's going to get it off the will? So this is the one reason why I'm like, maybe the wife didn't do it. Maybe she was involved in some capacity, but I don't know.
It's hard to say. I mean, did they ever come out and like accuse her of that? I didn't read about that anywhere.
No, they never came out and accused her, but the only reason why they were kind of pointing a little bit of fingers at her saying maybe it was her was because she was so adamant about getting the will.
So here's the thing though. You would think dude would be heavily like have security detail up the wazoo after the first time getting abducted. I mean, I would.
So Will's saying the abductors put it in an offshore account for him, and he's living in a tropical lifestyle right now with a bunch of new wives. And you know what? I'm not. Stranger things have happened. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's completely false in any way. That's why this is
Carol Baskin's husband. It just was all of a sudden just appeared out of nowhere after being gone for years. Yeah. So it's possible.
Yeah, and that's why this is called the Red Tape Files, because we can sit here and we can talk about things that were like maybe this happened or maybe this happened, but in reality, are we going to ever actually know? And the thing
maybe he just wanted to get away from her, and he needed money, so he had her send the money, and who knows? Stranger things have happened,
right? Stranger freaking things have happened. The weird part is though, is as you saw, so Will's also saying for 10%, his name is now Tom. No last name lives on Tom's island.
When you're that rich, you can buy yourself an island, I'm sure.
No, yeah. I'm sure you possibly can. But also, when you look at this, though, also, so it's like they said, half the abductors were actually caught. Half the people were caught. The other half were not. It's interesting because these guys never spoke a word. These guys never said, except for where the body was, but they never said who was involved. They never mentioned the wife's name. My thinking is did he get caught up in some kind of deal that went wrong?
Shady things. When you're that rich, you probably deal with a lot of shady people. So,
Mess Around Island. That's what William Hudson's trying to say. So, my thing is this. Put these numbers together. Do you think it's far-fetched that an abductor would ask for $60 million?
I mean, when you know somebody's that rich and you think you can possibly get away with it, I mean, I'm sure it happens more often than people think.
Maybe, but I'm saying I've never heard of an abductor coming out and saying, "Hey, can you get me 50 or 60 million dollars and I'll let him go." It's usually not like that unrealistic of a number. So that's kind of why I'm like looking at like what William Hudson's saying, and maybe he kind of wanted to disappear. Maybe he wanted to disappear. Maybe his wife wanted him gone. I mean, you could potentially throw all these things out there because 60 million is a heck of a lot of money for anybody to come out and request it. So it's like you said, somebody knew he was rich and had a lot of money. Well, obviously, because the second time he was abducted was at a jockey club. So
Wow.
So you
I
would
just can't believe he didn't have a crap ton of security with him after the first time.
That's the thing is when you're abducted from a jockey club, how would nobody see this?
Right?
How would
That
nobody
makes no
see
sense.
that he got abducted? Except for the so-called people who did it that said this is where his body's at and nothing came to it. So, we can sit here and put theories out there to say, maybe the wife was involved, maybe she wasn't, maybe he wanted to go start a new life, and maybe he just got overwhelmed with the life he was in with being an owner of a pharmaceutical company, so he wanted to kind of disappear. Maybe he didn't want his wife to get the will, so
all the little people getting stuff. That's funny.
So, I mean, when you think about it, I don't know. When I saw this though, I was just trying to come up with theories, but for some reason, I just kept going back to his wife. That was really the only thing that I could come back to. And he's saying that jockeys are 4'9". So.
Yeah, they're pretty light too. They have to be. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But that's where I'm at right now. Is I keep going back to the wife and thinking the wife had to have something to do with it. But I'm still 50-50. But
I don't know. How about that first group that got away with the 30 million? They're living large.
No, for some reason, I thought, but I could be wrong, but I thought that one or two of them were actually brought in. I thought that they caught like one or two of them, and they didn't give up the rest. They didn't say how many were involved. They didn't give out the rest of the names. But I want to know why were no names like disclosed with what happened. Usually when somebody is abducted and they find the people who did it or they turn themselves in, a name is usually thrown out there, and they usually say this is the person who did it. There's nothing. There's no names. Unless you're seeing something that I'm not, but I'm not.
I saw a name somewhere earlier. Let me see if I can find it.
No, the only thing that I came across was that he was thrown in the sea from a sampan, which it sounds really weird because a sampan is like a wooden boat. It's this long wooden boat, and that's what he was thrown into the sea from. That was really the only thing that came up. Other than that, there was no names of anybody or anything. that was involved in this whole disappearance. Unless you said you saw one, but I didn't come across one. But yet again, this was another case that there was very little to go on because there was really no clues. It only tells you the main facts about when he disappeared, to where he got abducted twice. His wife gave out all this money. There was a will involved, and the reasons why there was a will involved, and when they met, when they got married, and when he disappeared, and how long his wife had been fighting it for, and when he got declared dead, which, we had basically covered all that already. So there was basically little to nothing. And you also talked about her receiving phone calls from Teddy up until the year 2000.
Yeah.
So according to this date and time that they would be putting through right now, they're saying that he's been missing for 31 years, 11 months, and 17 days. So if he actually is alive, if he wants to be found, he'll be found. If he doesn't want to be found, he won't be found.
I just read that he was driving the same car when he got
Abducted
the
again.
second time. Yeah. He drove the same Mercedes to the club.
So it's crazy. I'm telling you, I think it would have been the same group of guys the second time. I'm telling you, I think both times it would have been the same group.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, like, it's got to be the same group did it both times.
I wish I had more information.
There's really not a whole lot to go on this.
There's really, really not. And we actually want to extend an invite to anybody who would like to guest appear on the show and talk facts with us. We have an open invite for next week. So let us know if you would like to hop on, and we'll share the case with you that we're going to be talking about. And then you can come up with any facts or clues for next week if you would like to hop on. So
I thought I read somewhere that one of the kidnappers was actually a Chinese intelligence officer, but I can't find it now.
No, I thought they went to the Chinese intelligence officer to try and get him to help out with this case, and they couldn't. He couldn't figure it out.
Oh, is that what it was? I remember reading
Yeah.
about a Chinese intelligence officer.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Okay, do you ever wonder though why they never interviewed the wife?
It's, I don't know. It seems strange why they. I don't know. Maybe they thought they rolled her out quickly, like because she paid the ransom.
That would be a way to throw people off your trail, to pay the ransom.
Right.
And so William's saying, unfortunately, I have no facts. No. I'm talking about next week. I'm not talking about this week. We're talking about next week. If you want to be a guest next week on the show,
you want to come on, we can send you the case file, the subject that we're going to be talking about, and you can research it and come on.
And so we'll definitely let you come on there. So William is saying he's interested in doing an episode on JFK.
That'd be cool. That was a lot of stuff to go on there.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff to go on there.
It'd be like an hour-long show, probably.
Yeah, we'll definitely consider that. Definitely coming up here. So since it's almost that time, we're almost at the 25-minute mark. We kind of covered everything that we already knew. So kind of any final thoughts for you before we go ahead and wrap this up?
No, just I love the show and I love the direction it's going. I can't wait to talk about more cases in the future. Like Ace said, anybody wants to come on and guest appear, we'll send you the case subject we're going to talk about, and you can come on and talk about it with us.
So next week, we will be talking about a lady by the name of Elaine Kahn. who disappeared April 14th of 1990. So if you kind of get the pattern that we're going here, we're kind of starting in the 90s and we're kind of working our way up. So we're going from there and coming up. So if there's any interest next week to join us, absolutely. You have the name of the show that we're going to be doing. So definitely let us know. Feedback is 100% great. And even if there's somebody you want us to talk about, which somebody did reach out to us and say that they wanted us to air an episode of somebody that disappeared, absolutely. We are going to be airing that soon. We have you on the list. That episode's going to be coming up. We already have kind of a long list that we're doing, but we're definitely coming up. If there's even any local cases or anything that anybody wants us to talk about, throw it out there. Give us any facts or clues that you may know, and we will gladly talk about it.
For sure.
So yeah, very, very, very exciting. So with that, we definitely hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. If you've taken in away anything from the show, maybe not driving the same car multiple times. I don't.
And if you're abducted once and you're that rich,
Get
hire
security.
freaking security.
Get some security. If this, I would have got security after the first time. Now I get, it's not really funny that somebody disappeared and died. I get it.
Not. I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry.
But the point is that sometimes just taking those key little steps can help you and can save you. And so if you know potentially that somebody would abduct you again, the best thing to do is get security, get some kind of help. Make sure that somebody.
You would have been paranoid as hell after the first time that you would have done that.
I would have been completely paranoid after the first time it happened. Heck, I'm always looking at my surroundings. No matter where I go, I'm always checking my surroundings every time I go anywhere. I always do. But anyways, we want to thank everybody for watching another episode of the Red Tape Files, and we will see everybody again next week for another episode of the Coast to Coast Red Tape Files. You all have a great night, and see you next Monday night.